Hello, everyone. Good barely morning. My morning, probably your afternoon, which is typical for a chef cooking brunch. Um, Today, we're going to cook the classic eggs Benedict. Um, I find it amusing that most chefs hate brunch, and but we're gonna do that so that maybe you guys can do it at home. It's really simple, but before we get anything started, let's get your oven preheated to 425 degrees. Let's get a pan or a pot of water on. We have to pay attention to this part first, but some water, 2 tablespoons of vinegar in that, and then a small pot behind you, and pan, and other pan. Okay, so let's get those going. One's poaching water, and the other is for melting butter. This is my favorite part about brunch. My only thing I like about brunch is 8 tablespoons of butter. Put it in a pot. Put it on low and let it simmer while we're doing this complicated part. So we have behind us, really quickly, you don't really have to see it, is some water boiling. We're trying to come to a boil, and butter melting very low. More importantly, biscuits. My recipe for biscuits is 2 cups flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 cups buttermilk, 7 tablespoons of butter that you freeze the night before. If you forgot to freeze it, so did I. It's okay. Okay, so we got the buttermilk, dry. Yeah, let me just do that off in my head again. 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 tablespoons of salt, 7 tablespoons of butter, and 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, milk is fine. So I got all dry already in here. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. There are only 2 recipes that I follow when I cook. One of them is this, and if you have any idea who I am, this is going to sounds funny, but using cups and cup measurements for flour is not the most accurate way of replicating a recipe the same time over and over and over again. So again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but 279 grams of flour. Okay, so 279 grams of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. We had it all mixed in. And I'm gonna grab some butter real quick. That I just threw in the freezer this morning. The reason you want to throw the butter in the freezer is so that it breaks apart or breaks down slower. All of the butter actually stays in the biscuit and not all over your pan. So we're just gonna chop this up, and you have to be relatively quick. Don't have a conversation with your wife or husband, or don't take a phone call. They'll understand. Chop it all up. The smaller bits that you can get, the easier it'll be. So here's the butter going. Turn it down just a little bit. So add your 7 tablespoons of semi-frozen butter into that. And then it's time for the fun part. Yeah, you guys can see this. Okay, so you just take the butter and you're just kind of massaging it in, but not like Not like a cheap massage where they just kind of like rubbing you. No, you deep muscle massaging. Pulverize that butter. Do it as quickly as you possibly can. Because again, the butter is melting. And we don't want that. Well, we do in the pot, but not here. So you're just rolling, basically. Incorporating the butter into a pie sandwich. Into flour. Okay. And it's going to start looking like a little mealy, corn mealy. But I'll show you as soon as I'm done. Clumps of butter is okay. Just turn the melted butter off. So if you put it on the same time that I did, then it should be done. You want to be under 5 minutes of doing this, by the way. I don't know what we're at. Okay. So, you can see it looks kind of corny. If you're nervous about it, I don't know why you should be nervous about it. I don't know why I just said that, but just let's do it for 60 more seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very fast, 60 seconds. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 60. That was more like 24, but that's okay. So we have our dry mixture here. We have our buttermilk or milk. Just do the quintessential baking thing. Make a well in your dry ingredients. You don't have to. I don't mean. And pour in your buttermilk. So 1, 2, 3.
So it's like cut in half.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay, get in there and start mixing with your hands.
So that was 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk.
Yes, like I said, 3/4 cup of. You don't want to work it too much, just until it comes together. And then get your biscuit dough off your hands. A little excess flour. If Peter were here, he'd be photographing the hell out of this. Even if I wasn't using flour, I would still have to grab flour. Alright, so we have our flour on our cutting board or surface, whatever you do. And we're going to have it in this little flat shape that's in, and we're going to fold it this way. First, press it down, and then turn it 90 degrees and press it down, and then turn it 90 degrees and press it down. We're going to do this. That was 3. We're going to do that 5 more times. So 4, 5, 6. If it starts sticking to anywhere, just get your flour back out. 6, 7, 8. Now, at this point, clean your hands. I'm going to do that real quick. You know what I just realized? You never ever see somebody in a cooking show wash their hands, ever. Their hands are always immaculately clean, and they're just like, yeah. Let's take that into consideration. Okay, rolling pin. We're just gonna roll. I imagine you guys have done rolling pin things, but we're gonna make this about, let's see, half an inch? Yeah, half an inch. 3/4 inch. Yeah, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Don't get too technical about it. And
Hang on.
what?
It's just, the camera just flipped. There we go. Sorry.
And you're gonna have a cookie cutter or ring mold. If you don't have a ring mold, you can cut it with your knife. But the most important thing is, if you're doing it with a ring mold or if you're doing it with a knife, you get to the most corner of your dough and you press down and then you lift up. You don't twist, you just press down and then lift up. The reason why you press down and don't twist is because if you twisted, you would actually be forming kind of a barrier on the outside of the biscuit. And we want it to be, if you look at your biscuit, you see that there's like little layers. That's how biscuits are made. You want the steam to get in there so that it cooks the leaveners, the baking powder and baking soda, and makes it fluffy. So I just did 3 biscuits. At this point, I mean, you're cooking for 2 probably, so do 4. If you have extra dough, you can freeze the dough, or you can roll out the biscuits and then freeze the biscuits in biscuit form, so you can just bake them off later. But I might as well do one more. The first biscuit roll that you do will be your best biscuits. I hope that makes sense. But as you work with the dough more and more and more, and the butter warms up more and more and more, it smooths out your biscuits. So we're just gonna pop those in and set a timer for 9 minutes. Sounds great. Behind us, our water is boiling. We don't want water to be boiling when we're poaching eggs, so we're going to turn it down very, very low. And make some room for myself for the terribly terrifying process of making hollandaise. We're going to do the classic way of doing it until I get bored, and then I'll probably throw it in a blender. One of the brunch has many ways of annoying chefs. It's early, we were busy last night, we were drinking last night, but also it's just flour everywhere. It's the messiest thing of all time. Okay. So, 8 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 bowl, 1 egg, another bowl. Okay, we're gonna go get those egg yolks. You can do the whole shell thing if you want. There's even a trick where you put it in a bowl and have an empty water bottle and suck it up. Whatever you want to do. Just get the egg yolks. Let's do 3 or 4. Just because it's easier to work with more egg yolk actually than less. A little bit more forgiving too. Let's start out with 3. Alright, so 3 egg yolks. What do you do with the egg whites? Have your wife make you
Whiskey sour.
a whiskey sour. Okay. Not right now. Don't do it right now. Give me like 5 minutes before I start cooking. Alright, so we have our egg yolks. And in a metal bowl. It's important to be a metal bowl. Show you a little trick that we do here. We have a towel. wanted in words, so just do that. And then put it around the bowl and tie it off. And we have a little bowl koozie. That way, it doesn't move. Which is important for the next part. This part sucks. I'm actually gonna have my wife help me. Yes. So the process is egg yolks and warm butter. That's going to be warming, cooking, emulsifying, blah 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 blah. Okay, I'll do a real explanation. The warm butter is going to be slowly cooking the egg yolk until it starts to thicken up. And then the fat is emulsifying, making hollandaise. So pour. Slowly. A little bit more again. A good rule of thumb here is, you can see the butter kind of entering the egg yolk. You can go a little bit more. But it should all look homogenized. If all of a sudden you're stirring and you see two very different types of liquids, slow down. Middle of the bowl. Middle of the bowl. Right, yeah, just right in the middle of the bowl. Slow down. Good. And since you guys are probably doing this without a wife, I just wanted my wife to help for a second. That's what this towel is for. Keep going. You're gonna notice that the eggs are getting thicker and lighter and coming to nearly the consistency of mayonnaise. Like a little bit lighter. Sorry about that. I'm gonna go a little bit more. Just a tad. Before you guys go anymore, we did 3 eggs and maybe like 3/4 of a cup of egg. I mean butter. Okay, so that's all it is. How do you know you're done on your side? The age-old test, does it stick to the back of a spoon? It looks like it sticks to the back of a spoon to me. Okay, this is basic hollandaise. Delicious. At this point, you can season it however you want. Salt, obviously. Lemon, to get a little acid go. And I don't know if this is how most people make it, but when I was making hollandaise, almost every single chef always told me lemon juice and Tabasco sauce. Get that little heat. I, on the other hand, prefer tiny bit of my harissa spice. There it is. So add your stuff, taste it, see what you think. I think it needs a little bit of citrus, random citrus. Everybody following along? Okay. Did anybody break their hollandaise? I mean, that was pretty easy. But if you're really lazy, or if you've done enough brunches like I have, you could quite honestly just put it in a blender and do the same thing. It'll blend it all up for you, and you add in the butter just slowly. So you can cheat. Nothing wrong with cheating. Okay, so hollandaise is done. Biscuits looking good. So let's get on to the next step, which is I always put vegetables with my bennies, and I have asparagus. So we're gonna do a little. If you don't have asparagus, don't worry about it, obviously. But how to clean asparagus? Very simply, you grab this asparagus on either end and you snap it. What's happening is it naturally breaks at the part that is tender. If you chew on this part versus the other part, there's a difference. Not really eligible. Perfectly edible. So that happens naturally. It's kind of cool. If you like my wife, save the stalks. You can make a stock from it. You can make stock from the stalks. Hilarious. I make a cream, like asparagus soup out of it. Okay.
That's your timer going up.
Set it for another 4 minutes. Alright. So if you have a peeler with you, I didn't just tell you to do that, but it shouldn't be too hard to find. We're actually going, this is not for, there's techniques in restaurants where you actually peel the asparagus to get the most tender parts. That's not the reason we're doing this. Just go around the asparagus and peel it. Might be a little bit strange for you guys the first time, but you just press it up against your hand. Like that. And you're only doing like the stalk, don't do the floret looking thing. Technical term again. I did 4. 4 seems like a good number. If you're cooking 2 Benedicts, which I really hope you're not, because you shouldn't be cooking 2 Benedicts when you're making your first Benedict. You should be cooking 1. And then if you like it and you think you can replicate it, then do it again. Okay, so we have that shaved, and our water's going. We have 3 minutes on the biscuits. Our hollandaise is done. This is all about timing, so we're going to have my wife turn over to the next part.
Nice. Pardon if the shakiness here. All right. We're on the pot.
Okay, poaching an egg. Very, very easy. Once you know how to do it. Things you'll need is a pot. I would say I have about 3 cups of water in here and 2 tablespoons of any sort of vinegar, whatever, it doesn't really matter. A landing pad, so a plate and a paper towel. Keep on checking your ovens, by the way, because every oven holds its temperature differently, but depending on your oven, it should be 9 to 15 minutes. So don't let your biscuit burn. Okay. So we're on pot, and we have 2 eggs. We're going to crack the egg, and we are going to put it into a bowl. Very gently. When I say gently, that's weird. You should have like the shell on the bottom of the bowl, and then just like very slowly do it. If it breaks, toss the egg, start all over again. And while doing that, we're gonna get hand going for our ham. If you got ham, if you didn't get ham, again, doesn't matter. Okay. So our pot is actually, our water is too hot right now. It should not be rolling or bubbling. It should slightly under that. So take your time, because I'm going to take my time. If you guys are in the same stage as me, so we can do this very much together. Okay. So I should have tiny, tiny little bubbles on the bottom. Your guys' biscuits are probably done. Mine are not. Don't worry about a timer. I know what's going on in my head. If your guys' aren't done, then just check the biscuits as I check the biscuits. So, little teeny tiny bubbles. Slotted spoon and your landing pad. That's it. So, you want to turn the water quickly. Make a cyclone. Switch over to your left hand, grab the eggs with your right hand, and then actually put your bowl in the water and let one egg out. Let that first egg kind of like get itself situated, and then let the other egg out. You're making the cyclone for two reasons. One, you don't want the egg to actually touch and stick to it, the pot being it. And two, the cyclone is making the eye of the storm kind of like the center point of the pot, so that most of the egg doesn't poof off. Okay, if you like vegetables like I like vegetables, with my Benedicts, I just have some shiitakes going while I'm waiting for this. And some onion. If you had asparagus, you want to cut the florets off. Don't put those in yet though. You want those nice and crunchy. Butter. Salt. Not really paying attention to the poached eggs. Don't worry, we're good. So, again, just patiently waiting for the biscuits. Are you ruining my brunch party? Ah, they're pretty much there. Okay. So, this is how you know when a poached egg is done. You have to be very gentle. Make sure you have a good slotted spoon. These are not done. I can already tell you they're not done. And the way you tell is when you come up with a slotted spoon, is you'll see the egg white start to separate. Can you see that? Hopefully, that little spot right there. It means it's not done. The egg should be able to hold itself together when it's done. You'll find out really quickly if you pull it out of the water and it's not done because the whole egg will fall apart. So when you do what I just did, you're still in the water. Alright. You hand me a bowl. Mm-hmm. Thanks. I think this is going to work out splendidly on the timing part. So let's check our huevo. Almost. See that I actually have it above the water and it's not falling apart? We're almost there. How's everybody doing their poached egg? Did they fuck it up? Everybody do it right? Got my veg going. Literally those things will be done in like 30 seconds. Okay, gonna grab the biscuit. And this is a very basic biscuit recipe. Maybe you want them more golden brown, then you can baste them with butter before you put them in, or buttermilk. Maybe cut up some chives, whatever you want. Put some cheddar in there. Oh, look at this, see? Perfectly poached egg. Gonna put it on our landing pad. There we go. All right, we're gonna go back to the table. So that you guys can place your Benedict. Or at least I'm gonna place my Benedict. Or at least, I'll be honest, I'm taking my wife's Benedict.
Finally.
So, I typically do half of a biscuit per order, but you know, we just did 4, so go ahead. Do more if you want. And we're going to take our shave, asparagus, some garlic oil, some lemon, some salt, got the pan cooking, almost done. Okay. Salad, biscuit, nice and hot, toasted, looking great. I put the veg down on the biscuit. Be as avant-garde as you wish. And then, I swear to God, I just do this because, like most other chefs off, I don't put the ham on there, so you don't have that perfect Benedict look. And then with your poached eggs, this is an important part, is they're perfectly cooked, and you have them on this paper towel so that you can just put your spoon and then roll it onto your spoon and then roll it onto your biscuit. Roll it onto your spoon. Roll it onto your biscuit. Hollandaise looks a lot like mayonnaise right now. Because it cooled off, which is fine. If you're doing a brunch party, which I hope none of you ever have to do, you do actually have to keep it warm. But the nice thing is that an egg will actually warm up your hollandaise for you. Hollandaise. There we go. It must be a little bit colder in mine, because this is a little thicker. So the hollandaise ruined. It's not really. Just add a little bit of water. Then add the water the same way. Woo! No, it's not. That you would add the butter. I know what you're Okay. Hollandaise. And then our salad. There we go.
cutting?
Right now.
So, I hope you enjoy your Benedict.
It's weird, like break an egg situations here.
Just funny little note is that there's literally a half a pound of butter in this one dish. So when you go out to brunch, keep that in mind. Maybe go for a run. That's it. That was a lot of fun. That was the best brunch I've ever had because now I know it's over. You guys enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. And I wasn't even drinking. This is not an authentic brunch at all.
Alright.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
a lot.
guys.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
How the hell do we end? There we go.